And the invocatory verses of Tattvabodha and Vivekacūḍāmaṇi. Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Paramparam. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidiyate. Sarva Vedānta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So last we had seen the qualification of samadhanam. So we have to understand this qualification, because the question I had got, I think there's a confusion with this idea of qualification. It is not some title that you put to yourself. Like, you study CA exams and you become a chartered accountant. It's not that type of qualification. Here we're talking about qualities that your antahkarana, the mind, needs to absorb for your spiritual growth. So the qualification means how you think has to change. And that change of the thinking, change of thoughts has to be done deliberately. Because it is not just by hearing qualifications I suddenly gain. Just by listening to Shamadama, does Shamadama come? No, it is not going to come so easily. I'm afraid it takes alert living and practice. So, we saw Bhagavan had given 2 tips. He had said 2 things for us in the Bhagavad Gita about gaining these type of attitudes, gaining these qualities of mind which are required for spiritual growth, spiritual pursuit. Vairāgya, which is the first one. Vairāgya in this context is objectivity. Objectivity also has to be understood. What does it mean to be objective? I am definitely, I definitely see that there are some areas which are creating problems for me in my life. Okay, that is the first understanding. My thinking is responsible for certain issues that keep arising. So you get to see the issues you have when you have to face the same thing again and again. Unfortunately, life teaches us only like that. The bitter blows, keep going through the same thing cycle again and again. Then suddenly mind, maybe I'm at fault. Maybe there's some problem with me because I face the same thing again and again. What's going wrong? So if you're intelligent, you see that the solution is you. If you're unintelligent, you will keep pointing the finger at the world and saying they're the problem. So this is the difference with, again, spiritual life and samsaric life. Samsaric life means you will always blame the world for everything. Spiritual life means, let me correct my vision, let me correct myself. And this correcting oneself, we have to be very clear. You see, one thing I know is that the mind I have was not chosen by me. I did not have a checklist when I was born saying, I want this thought, I want this. Then we would have definitely ticked different boxes. What the mind we have, we definitely would have ticked different boxes, not the mind we have now. So it is not under our control. Whatever mind I have been given, mind is just bundle of thoughts, patterns of thinking we call mind, antahkarana. Whatever patterns of thinking, thought I have are given, meaning there's certain order behind it, and we call that order karma. It is due to karma certain thoughts come into my mind. It is all karma. Why certain other thoughts go into other people's minds? That is their karma. So this has to be clear. Now, with this given mind, the given mind is not helping me in my life. I see that there are certain areas where I keep getting into conflict. And I don't like conflict because what we look for in life is peace. Who doesn't want peace? We don't like to be in pieces, we want peace. So there are patterns of thinking that I recognize which are not good for me. So a spiritual aspirant, person who's interested in spiritual life, will say what? I need to make some changes in my life. How do I do this? So I look for solutions. I become more deliberate in my thoughts and actions. And here Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita says, objectively. So without, beating myself up, without blaming myself, all of this is important to bring in alert living into one's life with practice and objectivity. So Lord Krishna, as I said, he gives these points in the Bhagavad Gita. Manage the mind. Learn to understand your thinking patterns. Recognize them. Don't deny them. That's why it's always good to write down certain things. So you see the pattern when you go back, what is there. And how do I overcome? He had said, deliberately practice the opposite. Deliberately practice pratipaksha bhavana. And pratipaksha bhavana means you have to bring your free will into this action by doing the opposite of what the mind is saying. And more you practice it, you fake it and make it, we call it, the more and more the mind starts picking up the new habit. So you transform the old habit into the new habit. This is the only way. There is no magic solution, and it does take time, but it does work. So this is what we saw last time. All of this, Bhagavan had, Tattvabodha, Vivekacūḍamani, we had discussed to develop the quality of focus, samadhanam, addressing the types of mind, and also gaining the mind that is steady, that is secure, that is stable, that is able, that you are able to put to a certain action. You have to be the master of your mind and not the slave of the thoughts. So samadhanam means mastery as well, like shamadama, very similar, but samadhanam means focusing. After you have gained shamadama, it is focusing the mind on a particular thing. Now, the final qualification is a very beautiful qualification. And even though it is the final one, we will see the importance of it. It is called mumukṣutvaṁ. So Tattvabodha defines mumukṣutvaṁ as what? Mumukṣutvaṁ kim mokṣo me bhūyād iti icchā. This is the Tattvabodha definition. In Vivekacūḍamani, Adi Shankaracharya says, ahaṅkārādidehāntān bandhānajñānakalpitān svasvarūpāvabodhena moktumicchā mumukṣutā. So he adds an extra, as I said, always he adds extra to the Vivekacūḍamani definition. So he says here, mumukṣutā or mumukṣutvaṁ is yearning for freedom. It's the yearning, the deep desire to be free. And what do you want to be free from? That is when we talk about freedom, there is freedom from something, right? You can't just say, I want freedom. We have to qualify it from something. What is it you want to be free from? We definitely want to be free from all sorrow. Nobody will say they don't. We want to be free from all sense of inadequacy. We want to be free from all sense of limitation. We want to be free from that small, limited self that constantly, reacts in this world, that doesn't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with myself. So moksha, mumukṣutvaṁ is that yearning for moksha, yearning for freedom, yearning to be free from all the things I don't want in life. And here he says how? Through the recognition of my true nature. That is the only way I can be free. Otherwise, I will always be identified with what I'm not. This identification with what I'm not is the reason for all our problems in life. So moksha is understanding that what a freedom I want is through recognition of my true nature. He adds that to the Tattvabodha definition. And what is this? Freedom desire is from all bondages, born of the identification with this body, mind, one particular body, mind, sense complex. And the bondage is because of ignorance. It is only ignorance that has created the bondage. And this feeling of ahaṅkāra, I is this much alone. So these are the definitions that the books give. So moksha, let us understand what the strong desire for moksha is. We have seen moksha in the Purushartha Nishchaya, we have done many, many times, but it is important to revisit what moksha really means. It is, again, freedom. As I said, freedom and the desire, this freedom, desire for freedom should be translated to desire for self-knowledge. Because if it is to know my true nature, then I am ignorant of my true nature. Then what is opposed to self-ignorance? Self-knowledge. So it is actually positively seen, it is actually the desire for self-knowledge. That desire is called moksha. And that only comes when I know what I really want in life. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is everything done for? So in that way, moksha has to be extremely clear. Then only everything else comes into the picture. Will we ever work for such difficult qualifications if our goal is not clear? You just think about it. There's a whole list given in all the texts, Shamadama, only 4 here. You're lucky. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives so many more. So all these values and everything of the mind that has to be cultivated, will any Tom, Dick, Harry take that up? No, they'll say, oh, forget it. I've got better things to do. Why should I have amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rajavam? No, it is only the person who recognizes I want moksha who will make effort to develop the other qualities. So this moksha is the only permanent, we say, fulfillment in life. It is being comfortable with whatever you are. It is being comfortable with however much you have. It is being comfortable with whatever happens to you in life. Who will not want that? That is the definition of moksha. It is not something after death. It is here and now. That is also uniqueness of our scriptures. You have to, discover that your birthright is to discover that you are already free. And it is something you can do here and now. So moksha, this desire, mumukṣutvaṁ, means your priorities change from all the other things you used to desire. You had a big list of all the things you had, in life that you had to fulfill. I want to gain this. I want to emigrate to the US. I want to earn this much salary. I want to do this. All of these desires, what happens? It relegated right down the list. It's not gone, so we can't eradicate desires. But what happens is that moksha goes up, like Swami Dayananda used to say in the old airports, like Heathrow Airport. He used Heathrow as an example. they used to have these big black boards with, all the flights, the takeoffs, the departures. And the flight that was going to depart first would move up. So it would go tick, 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 and go up to the top of the list. And all others would go down. And the next flight, tick, 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 go up. Moksha desire is like that. So he used to say, every moksha, when it comes into the picture, then every other desire goes down the list. Not gone, but your priority becomes this in life. So this is, important to recognize what the problem is first. So it is important to recognize how I am bound. So bondage comes in many ways. Bondage, we're talking about mental, okay, not any physical bondage. Nobody's tied down anywhere, okay? Don't get that idea. It is mental. I feel mentally bound. And how is this mental bondage that we're talking about? It is that I am emotionally dependent on people. I'm emotionally dependent on objects. I'm emotionally dependent on situations. For what? For my happiness. This is the first recognition of my life. I am emotionally, what is the meaning of emotional dependence? That without that thing, I cannot survive. If I don't have that, I cannot survive. That is called emotional dependence. Emotional dependence is a disease. Disease is, again, because it is keeping you away. Disease keeps you at ill ease with yourself. It is not nice feeling to be emotionally dependent because you're always worried for losing that which you're dependent on, right? And one time or another, what is the facts of life? We have seen that. One time or other, you will have to lose. We will all have to lose what we are dependent on. So this moksha urge is the urge to be happy. It is a natural urge. Natural urge means there is, it is inbuilt. From the moment you are born on this earth and your mind starts kicking in, that natural urge to be happy, you can even see in children. So everybody wants happiness. Everybody is, in fact, after moksha. And this is where the Vedānta, Shastra, Upanishads come and reveal. They come and relieve and reveal. What do they reveal? They reveal that you are the very form of happiness. You are the very source of happiness. And this happiness is unconditional happiness. There's no condition for this happiness. It is happiness at your command. So this is a very beautiful thing to understand. This moksha, once it's understood, you will see that in everything you do in life, every pursuit you have, it is this one thing that you are seeking in life. And once I realized that, the icchā, moksha icchā, it starts developing in me. It starts growing. And then I discover, how do I discover? I try and find a solution. How do I appease this urge? Like if I have this urge for thirst, how do I appease the urge? I take some water or I take some liquid. There is a solution that is provided. If I'm very hungry, hunger is also a natural urge, right? So I'm very hungry, my stomach's rumbling. What do? I immediately go and get something. I get something to eat. So it is also a natural urge. And there is a solution provided in the creation for my hunger urge. Happiness is also a natural urge. How beautiful to see that. Every human being has that urge for happiness. It's inbuilt. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what culture you are. It is an inbuilt urge. I want to be happy is an urge. And to fulfill that urge, Bhagavan must have provided something in creation, right? That's what the creation would be defective if the solution was not provided. It's such an intelligent creation. Everything is provided to fulfill all of the natural urges. Then we have this one natural urge, I want to be happy. Then the solution also must be provided because he is all knowledge, he is intelligence. What is the issue here then? We don't know the solution. That is the issue. We have no idea where the solution lies. So that is why we go and look for the solution all over the place. like the musk deer searching for the fragrance emanating from itself. It's looking all over the place. Where is this wonderful smell? Where is this wonderful smell? Until somebody comes and points out, if the deer can understand, hey, it's from you all along. Whatever you're looking for is from you. So this moksha, there is a solution for this moksha, and it is there in creation. But where is it? It is not in external objects. It's not in external circumstances. And this is where we make the error, because all we know is external. The sense organs are pointed outward. What can I do? Poor me. Bhagavan has created everything for me not to find moksha. It seems like that. Everything is pointed externally. So my mind goes out, my eyes like something, mind goes there. My ears like something, mind goes there. Everything is outward pointing. And Bhagavan has hidden this happiness in the place where you will least look. Where? In you. You will not look in your own self. He has hidden the most greatest gem of all in the self, in yourself, in the mind. It's called upalabdhi sthanam. So that self knowledge takes place there, but the self is hidden there. Hidden under what? Under all the ignorance. I'm sorry, I don't know how the hand went up, and I think there's some AI or something there. So it's a blessing, Abhaya. So the desire to be free from being small, moksha, all of this. And how does one gain this desire for moksha then? Can I just say mumukṣutvaṁ, chant it like japa, mumukṣutvaṁ, mumukṣutvaṁ, mumukṣutvaṁ? Will it come? No, maybe some people can try it. Someone can take it up, try, see if it works. But we have to recall the first verse of Vivekacūḍāmaṇi that we took. One of the first verses, Devanugraha hetukam. Adi Shankaracharya says there are three things that are very, very difficult to gain in one's life. One is human birth. It is not easy to gain human birth. You have infinite number of possibilities to be born as animal, as anything. You can, that all the karma in karana sharira. There is a lot of storage, potentials of karmic births. So there is a lot of potential. So human birth is one tough thing to get. The second tough thing to get is the Mahapurusha Samshrayaha, which is the company or the ashraya, the protection of a wise person, a great soul, you would say literally. That ashraya, that is also very difficult to get. And the third thing that he says, if you remember, is mumukṣutvaṁ. The very desire for liberation, desire to be free, is also due to the result of deva anugraha, due to the result of your own tapping the grace of divine, tapping the grace of God. So here, this is a very important thing to understand as well. This deva anugraha hetukam, that extra factor that helps me to gain this desire, to make this desire solid in my mind, can only come when I tap that grace. And how do we tap grace? We know that puja, prayer, it can be worship in any language. You can be chanting in the Amazon forest. They chant for divinity in their own languages. In Africa, in the tribes as well, they do, I've heard this very interesting language. They just click, they speak like that, but they do their chants with the clicking. But they're still connecting to divine, because divine understands all languages. It doesn't have to be in a particular language. But Sanskrit does have an extra quality where it has the energy. There's a certain vibration to the Sanskrit sounds. So when mantras and shlokas and stotras are chanted in that, it does invoke a presence of something. You feel it. It's a tangible presence. So this, all this connecting to divine through certain forms of worship invoke grace. And that grace manifests in your life in many, many ways. If you ask for spiritual grace, it will manifest for your spiritual life. If you ask for, If you ask for BMW, Mercedes, it will manifest in the material world. If you want a bigger house, it will manifest like that as well. Many people do pujas for material things. Most people, majority of people actually. So you'll see, businessmen and all of this in India, they're constantly doing pujas because, of course, they have one good thing is they believe in what the Vedas say, that there will be ritual result. Ritual, so they do a lot and, all they gain the results as well. We can see that. But here we're not interested in material desires. We are here for our spiritual pursuit. And in that way, we also need a grace, spiritual grace, which also needs invoking. So this is important. It is due to the, grace of God. And for that grace, what does that grace do? That grace makes me move from tamas, that lethargy, that inactivity, that, not motivated to do anything, that tamasic nature, it gives me rajas. I can't go straight to sattvic. I have to go through rajas. So from tamas, I come out of tamas, I become active, but I become active in the right direction. So the activity is with the karma yoga lifestyle. So when I become active in the right direction, what happens? Then mind gets purer, more and more calm. Finally, I become sattva guna predominant, which means a more calmer mind, a more stable mind, a mind that is, has the potential for triggering this moksha icchā. So this, very, very important qualification. It is, moksha is not giving up anything. It is not the gain of anything. It is just discovering that you are already that. In that way, you don't have to give up anything in life. You don't also have to gain anything. If you discover yourself to be fullness, where is there gain and giving up? There is no gain and giving up as well. So, here Adi Shankara talks about the I. He defines moksha as a limitation also of the I. I am this, freedom from that I, meaning that I that thinks I am this much alone, the sense of inadequacy, not feeling, always feeling a sense of dissatisfaction, something or other. This is centered on the I. And I'm always feeling bound by, time. If I'm in one place, I can't be in another. I wish I could be in two places at once. We all wish, we had that ability to be in, hundreds of places at one time, but I can't. So I'm bound by time. I'm bound by place. Even objects also limit me. So this limitation, I feel I need to get out of. So moksha is developing this moksha icchā is one of the qualifications actually Adi Shankaracharya and the texts give. You have to develop it. We'll see in the next few verses how you develop it and how you can grow it. But what is this other understanding of this I? The negation of the I thought is what is also another way of understanding moksha. Negating is seeing the I thought, the body, mind, senses as a shadow self. It is not your real self. Whatever happens to the shadow, you just think about it. Whatever happens to your shadow, can it touch you? Nothing that happens to the shadow can touch you. But the problem is, when you think you're the shadow, if the shadow passes over gutter water, what happens? Then you'll jump. Oh my God! I went through the gutter water. So this is the idea of understanding of negation of the I. When the pot recognizes, another example, the rishis love pot and space. When the pot recognizes it is space, what can limit the pot? Can anything limit space? Space inside the pot is space. Space outside the pot is space. It is as though limited by the upadhi of pot. So this is another understanding of moksha, freedom from limitations, freedom from unhappiness, discovering that pot, the limited pot, is not you. You are much more than the limited pot. Yes, you pervade the pot, but you are much more. And this understanding only comes through knowledge. knowledge, that pot can never limit space. The wave can never limit water. Can a one wave limit water? It cannot. The water is limitlessness. Water is much more than one wave. So here it's understanding through knowledge, falsifying that I that is identified, like the I is identified with the pot. The I is never limited. It was never limited. It will never be limited. It is my wrong identification that makes the I appear as a small, tiny, little self with a lot of other selves around to fight with, So this knowledge takes some time to get, but again, so here, svasvarūpāvabodhena, Adi Shankaracharya says in the Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, understanding one's true nature, own original nature is moksha. Svasvarūpāvabodhena. He uses a knowledge term. Avabodhena means understanding, assimilating the knowledge. Then he goes on to next verse, which explains a little bit more about how to get this mumukṣutvaṁ. What is mumukṣutvaṁ, which is also interesting to see. So Tattvabodha has a very short definition. That's why I've gone back to Vivekacūḍamani, because he elaborates on those. So dwelling on the teachings and putting the mind to shravanam, mananam, nitidhyasanam, which means listening, clearing all the doubts, listening for a length of time, not just listening 1 week, 2 weeks. It is quite a length of time. That listening regularly, committedly for a length of time does wonders to shift the vision. You don't have to do anything here. You just come, sit, and you suspend all your notions. Listening to the words of Vedanta, your vision automatically shifts. This is how knowledge works, without your knowing. So in the next verse, what does Adi Shankaracharya say? He says, mandamadhyamarūpāpi vairāgyeṇa samādinā prasadena guruseyam pravriddha sūyate phalam. So he says here, there are different types of mumukshus. So this is very interesting. There are levels of mumukṣutvaṁ also. So with this, all the qualifications are complete, but he elaborates on what mumukṣutvaṁ is. He highlights that why he's spending time on this is that he highlights this quality for a spiritual seeker. So 3 levels of mumukshus are talked about. One is called manda, second is called madhyama, and the third is uttama. Uttama is not mentioned here, because for uttama mumukshus, grace has already borne fruit. Okay, they are the highest of the mumukshus, the people who desire freedom. They are the highest quality of those people. Manda mumukṣutvaṁ means what? There is not so much desire. You may have it like on Mondays, 7 to 8, like a very, very, very strong desire. Or, there's another type of mumukṣutvaṁ that arises, especially, it's called smashana vairāgyam. So when you go to cremation ghats, or somebody close dies off, and you're there with, becomes mumukshu and very philosophical. What is this life about? Is it really, suddenly that person has gone. They were here 1 minute, they're not here. And then we'll talk all philosophy in their funeral. We'll talk all philosophy in the cremation. Next day, what? Bollywood dance. Oh, are you going? Yes, I want to go for that. So it is, this is called manda mumukṣutvaṁ, that keeps shifting. It waxes and wanes with your moods, because other things take priority. See, other things I want to enjoy, they take priority. So it will, it's okay, I can discover freedom later. So this is called manda. The desire to be free is not the driving force, for this person. But we have to understand, this desire to be free is the driving force for gaining all the other qualifications. That is why he has put this mumukṣutvaṁ as the highest value, the highest quality, because nothing can stand in one's way if you are clear with your goal. If the goal is not clear, then everything will come in the way. Something looks good, go that way. Something else looks better, go that way. A whole jagat is like that. Even the pursuit of Shastra study may become academic, because if mumukshu is not the goal, then you will do it. We know many people who study the same Upanishads, the same scriptures academically. So the urge, what he's saying is the urge for any goal has to be intense for success to happen. Not just spiritual goal, any goal. If you look at great contributors to society who have achieved things in their lives, their urge to achieve has been great, right? To the loss of everything else. So the icchā shakti, in Navaratri we're talking that icchā shakti is the potential, the power of desire is manifest as Devi in each one. That icchā shakti potential is within all, and it has the potential to manifest, but it has to, how does it manifest? Who manifests it? So here he says very beautifully, Gurov prasadena cha. It is not only your individual effort to manifest it, it is also due to grace of teacher. The teacher can help that mumukṣutvaṁ, the moksha icchā, to come up and again guide your life. Because four things are necessary, four types of grace are necessary for spiritual success. Ishvara kripa. Ishvara kripa is the success, is the grace of the Lord. Shastra kripa, the scriptures also have to bless you. They have to reveal the words, themselves when you read. Guru Kripa, the Guru's grace is very much necessary, and Atma Kripa, your own grace. Your own grace is also blessing you on your spiritual pursuit. So how does the grace of the Guru manifest? The grace of the Guru manifests as a well-wisher. That the Guru wishes that the person interested should definitely gain this knowledge, should definitely gain this wisdom, and it is a motive-less, agenda-less wish. It does not have any self-interest. And that wish is expressed to divine. That wish is expressed to the Lord. So the Guru is actually recommending you to Ishvara. Oh, this is a good candidate for moksha. Please take, oh Lord, you shower your grace. So the Guru's recommendation becomes important. That is called Guru's grace. And why does the Guru's grace work? Because if the Guru is, a real teacher, the Guru has also done a lot of the purification, has already gone through the lifestyle, has been through all the journey, connected to the Lord, and the Guru is the one who connects you to the Lord. So they've already done all of that sadhana and everything. And what do? They connect you to the Lord to gain Lord's grace. So this is, very important. He says here, there is a factor that can make that small manda desire into a huge desire. Madhyama is middling desire. So manda, you can see it is waxing and waning. Madhyama is, you study a little bit more, you do. Madhyama is mediocre. So you're a bit more of a mokshu. But all spiritual aspirants should get that conflagration, that icchā. Like, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda asked, I want moksha. He asked him, I want moksha. Then what did he do? He pushed his head under the water so he couldn't breathe. And this, Vivekananda was fighting for breath. Finally, he came up, it's like breathing. And he said, you have to want it this much. If you want moksha, you have to want it like you want your breath. That is the intensity that one needs to cultivate for this desire. Everything else gets pushed to the back. So tīvra mumukṣutvaṁ grows in the presence of the Guru, grows in presence of teacher, because vairāgya for externals decreases. If you have a Guru who drives Mercedes and does all this, then definitely vairāgya may not reduce. But with a teacher who is not interested, a teacher who shows what is interest is there, and you're spending time with the teacher who is not connected to external world so much, vairagya in you also develops. And what happens? He says, phalam suyate. Definitely the result for your Vedanta pursuit will be produced, because that mumukṣutvaṁ is the fuel that drives your pursuit. For Shravanam, when you have that mumukṣutvaṁ, what happens? Shravanam becomes easy. Shravanam, listening, it becomes so wonderful to do. You enjoy doing it. It is not like a tedious thing that you do. So Shravanam becomes easy. Mananam even more. You're clearing your doubts. Whenever you get a chance to be with the teacher, you spend clearing the doubts. You get clarity in certain things after you have seen, gone over the text and seen the questions that you have. So Mananam also becomes enjoyable. And of course, finally, you're left to yourself. So it is not that the guru tags along everywhere and holds your hand. You have to make effort in nididhyasanam, which is sit with yourself, take up the words, contemplate on what is being said, and see for yourself. So it's very beautiful growth. Shravanam you do for length of time. You keep listening to words of Vedanta. Mananam, you have a chance, because especially in our traditions, we have access to the gurus, access to the teachers to clear doubts. Swami Dayananda always used to tell us, don't make yourself inaccessible. Always make sure your students have access to you so they can ask you questions and clear doubts. Who else does that? That parampara, it is Swamiji's grace alone. Because without that clarification of doubts, it's very difficult. If you just listen to some YouTube lecture or somebody sitting giving one talk, how will you ever get clarity? You will get something, definitely. It's not you won't get. But the clarity comes when you have the opportunity to discuss, to clear, and then you become more and more, you see more and more space developing internally as well. So in those days, people were ready to undergo any type of hardship to gain moksha. That was the attitude, especially in those days. So vairāgyam, Guru gives you that vairāgyam, which increases the mumukshu, because vairāgyam means the other desires, you start getting, not interested. Things that you were interested, going shopping, doing this at the weekend, all of that becomes less and less. Why do I need 100 million saris? Why do I need more clothes? Why do I need extra things? Everything becomes more simple. Then the mind still needs to focus on one thing. So then it turns to this moksha icchā, because you've seen the limitations of worldly pursuit. So vairāgyeṇa, because of vairāgyeṇa, it's like a domino effect. Because of the increase in vairāgyam and samadhi, shatka, sampattihi, all the other qualities will start coming to you automatically, because you will be spending more time in developing shamadama than in Marks and Spencer's or in the markets. So you will be spending more time in doing this than in other pursuits. Then finally he says in the next verse, he says, vairāgyam ca mumukṣutvaṁ tīvram yasya tu vidyate tasminnevartavantas syuh phalavantas śamādayah. Calmness and other practices only have meaning and bear fruit when there is an intense spirit of renunciation and yearning for liberation. So he's reinforcing what we are saying in the next few. He chooses, Adi Shankaracharya chooses vairāgyam and mumukṣutvaṁ as the most important of the list. So if you don't have the others, you develop these and the others will come automatically. So this, how do I develop mumukṣutvaṁ? Okay, this is another thing. So we saw Guru's grace is one thing, but you also can make effort. Guru's grace is there, and focus effort in the right way. Focus is, the key to everything in life. Anywhere you come, focus has to come for Vedānta. Because the understanding, is there. Can any knowledge better Vedānta? Vedānta says you are the whole, that you are the truth of the universe. There is no other knowledge that can better that vision. So this focus on Vedānta to understand ultimate truth about you, the universe, and the God, that focus has to come. Then the question will come to to the teacher, usually that question comes, what if I don't have focus? I don't have focus. There's so many things I have to deal with. But Swamiji used to say, everybody has very good concentration. When? When you love what you're doing. Don't you have good concentration? When you love what you are doing, you have very good concentration. When you are interested in what you're doing, 3.5 hour Hollywood movie, the latest movie that comes out, and we're, 3D avatar, whatever movie, then you are glued to the movie screen. You have full focus concentration for that movie. So he said, never tell me you don't have focus. Every human being has focus and concentration in that which they're interested in. Focus is directly proportional to the interest I have. Concentration is directly proportional to the interest I have. So there are ways that I can develop focus, even for Vedanta. First is eliminate distractions. Eliminate distractions means at least during the class, switch off the phone. At least during the class, you're not answering calls. I see people do that sometimes, the phone rings, you're talking about a very, very important topic, and then suddenly, hi, how are you? What are you doing? I can, especially on Zoom, when I don't know people who have their videos off, we can't see, but the brave ones have their video on, and I don't see phones here. But eliminate distraction means I'm not doing anything else. I'm focused. Reduce multitasking. So these are points you can develop focus. Reduce multitasking means don't do shravanam while you're doing cooking, you're doing this, you're doing everything at once. That is reducing multitasking, because that is also not helping the shravanam, because you're concentrating on other things. Practice of mindfulness and meditation, even a small dose a day can work wonders. The focus can increase. So that is also very important. Another, the next point everybody will like, get more sleep. So we're not saying sleep through Vedanta class, okay? So get more sleep means you sleep at the right time, you have a good length of sleep, and sleep also has a way of developing more focus. And taking short breaks in between your studies, anything you study, Vedanta study, Shastra studies also like that. You can take some short breaks in between if you're doing a length of study, and connecting with nature, because in those days we used to have the classes outside. If you see the pictures of Dakshinamurti, he's sitting under a banyan tree and all the rishis around him. In fact, all the teaching in the gurukulams were outside. So it's, connecting with nature, it makes a big, big difference as well when you're able to connect with nature, learn in nature. So all these are, very good things to develop focus for anything in life. I'm not only talking about Vedanta study, any type of thing. Exercise also is very good, because exercise releases a lot of, good hormones that create that the ability to be able to focus after you stop exercising. Music, exercise, all of these are tools you can take. So instead of music, we have chanting, we have, prayers. All of these these are also building up your punya account. So doing this, prayers, chanting, all of this. In India, you have umpteen functions. Every day or other, there's some function, right? So you have, the Navaratri now, then Diwali will come, then something else. And so all these prayers and collective prayers that help with the chanting, help change your mind. And the last thing I want to say, which is connected to focus also, you may not recognize it, but it is diet. One has to learn to eat well, eat properly. You see for yourself what foods suit you. How does the mind become after taking certain foods? This whole Navaratri, I can give my own experience. I've been having raw food only. And it is so much energy. I can't sleep more than 3 hours a day now. And I don't feel tired. I don't feel exhausted. This raw, straight from nature, having these things is amazing, because Mother Nature has provided all of that. So no overcooked things. So all of this, you have to see. Each body is different. What foods affect your mind? What give you more focus? So all of this is to help to gain that mumukṣutvaṁ in the ancient times, Vedanta was not given to everybody. They actually selected those only fit to receive this knowledge and assimilate and understand. But it's difficult these days, for teachers to have that. Why? Because nobody will come. There's nobody, there's nobody there. There will be. So these days, it helps you. While Vedanta is taught, the students can develop the qualities during the Shravanam as well. So it is not that you come immediately prepared as adhikari. In those days, yes. These days, the preparation happens along with the study. It was very difficult to find teachers in those days as well. We had to go to the places, seek out the teacher, because many of the sannyasis and the sadhus, they'll be in Himalayas, they'll be in very very remote locations. You have to hunt them out and find them. These days we have what? YouTube swamis, everybody always there. So the reasoning behind it is that the casual interest is what one has to avoid in this pursuit. If one is interested, the casual interest, that feeling of casual, oh, I'll do it today, I'll do it. No, that type of attitude will not help. One more thing I wanted to add: no recording was, in those days, nothing to record, but they had no recording things, right? Nothing, no instruments to record. One thing, even if there was recording instrument, the gurus would say no recording, because your only recording is done in your intellect. Whatever you get from that one class, you get, and that's it, finished. If you don't get it, also, that's it. So it is what you remembered, you took away with you. These days, we cannot filter the students as in those days. So everybody can develop the qualifications while they're progressing with the study. So this is, I think we'll end this here. This is the whole idea of mumukshu. There is only one more verse left, which I have not, but that is a repetition. And then Adi Shankaracharya talks about another very important attitude to develop in the whole spiritual journey. So that we will see next time we meet.